The Gaza Strip, a densely populated Palestinian territory, shares its southern border with Egypt. This border, known as the Rafah crossing, represents a vital lifeline for Gaza's 2 million residents. For decades it has been a precarious passage, subject to the complex politics of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Control over Rafah has shifted hands multiple times, each change carrying profound implications for the people of Gaza. From 1949 to 1967, Egypt controlled the Gaza Strip, and the Rafah crossing served as a relatively open gateway to the outside world. However, the Six-Day War in 1967 resulted in Israel's occupation of Gaza, and the Rafah crossing came under Israeli control. The Oslo Accords in the 1990s brought a glimmer of hope, stipulating shared Israeli-Palestinian control of the Rafah crossing. However, the fragile peace crumbled in 2005 when Israel withdrew from Gaza, leaving a power vacuum quickly filled by Hamas. The rise of Hamas in Gaza, deemed a terrorist organization by Israel, the United States, and the European Union, added a new layer of complexity. Hamas's control of the Rafah crossing became a major point of contention, with Israel imposing a blockade on Gaza. In 2014, tensions escalated into a full-blown conflict, known as Operation Protective Edge. Israel launched a military operation in Gaza following the abduction and killing of 3 Israeli teenagers, which Israel blamed on Hamas. The ensuing 50-day conflict resulted in widespread destruction and a heavy death toll, primarily among Palestinian civilians. The already restricted movement of people and goods came to a virtual standstill. The humanitarian situation in Gaza deteriorated rapidly, with shortages of essential supplies including food, water, and medicine. Egypt, grappling with its own internal security concerns, viewed Hamas with suspicion, further isolating Gaza. The international community watched with growing alarm as the humanitarian situation in Gaza spiraled downward. The United Nations and various human rights organizations condemned the blockade as collective punishment, calling for an end to the siege. The blockade, coupled with the devastating impact of repeated conflicts, has had a crippling effect on Gaza's economy. Unemployment has soared, poverty is rampant, and the healthcare system is on the verge of collapse. The plight of Gaza's children is particularly dire, with malnutrition rates alarmingly high and access to education and healthcare severely limited. International aid organizations have struggled to provide assistance to Gaza, facing numerous obstacles. Egypt's role in the context of Gaza is indeed a delicate balancing act. As Gaza's only gateway to the outside world besides Israel, Egypt plays a pivotal role in the lives of the Palestinian people living in the Strip. However, Egypt's own internal challenges and security concerns have significantly shaped its policies towards Gaza. The rise of Hamas in Gaza has added another layer of complexity to Egypt's calculations. Egypt views Hamas with suspicion, accusing the group of supporting militant activity in Sinai. On the one hand, Egypt recognizes the humanitarian crisis unfolding in Gaza and has, at times, eased restrictions at the Rafah crossing. On the other hand, Egypt has been reluctant to fully open the Rafah crossing, fearing that this would undermine its own security. The future of Gaza remains deeply uncertain, with the specter of conflict and humanitarian disaster looming large. The underlying political issues at the heart of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remain unresolved, and the humanitarian crisis in Gaza continues to worsen. The international community, while expressing concern, has failed to find a lasting solution to the crisis. The ongoing blockade and the threat of renewed conflict have created a sense of despair and hopelessness among many Gazans, particularly the youth. With limited educational and employment opportunities, a generation of young people is growing up with little hope for a better future. This sense of despair has fueled a cycle of violence and instability, making it even more challenging to find a peaceful resolution to the conflict. The international community faces a moral imperative to address the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The Rafah crossing, once a symbol of Palestinian aspirations for freedom of movement, has become a stark reminder of the complexities and challenges of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Its fate remains intertwined with the broader political dynamics of the region, subject to the whims of both internal and external actors. While the future of Gaza hangs precariously in the balance, there have been some glimmers of hope. Various initiatives led by the United Nations, Egypt, and other regional actors have aimed to broker a long-term ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. These efforts, while fragile, offer a faint glimmer of hope that a more peaceful and prosperous future for Gaza may yet be possible. However, the path towards a lasting solution remains fraught with obstacles. The international community must remain actively engaged in seeking a just and sustainable resolution to the conflict. The time for action is now.